Hello at discountjuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. Today we will be juicing in the NamaJ2 and we'll be juicing one of the favorite things to juice, which is the celery. And I got some older heads of celery here to test out the NamaJ2. I have juiced celery in the NamaJ2 before. Link down below to my video where I basically make 4 recipes in the NamaJ2 and show you guys how quickly and easily you guys can juice batch juicing in the NamaJ2 with its innovative hopper lid, right? The NamaJ2 is my favorite juicer at present time when this video is being filmed. Link down below to the video why the NamaJ2 is my favorite juicer. And if you guys want to buy the NamaJ2, make sure you guys use my coupon code Celery10 to save 10% off the NamaJ2 because it does juice celery. I've shown this in other videos, but today I'm gonna definitely prove it and basically juice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heads of celery straight in the NamaJ2. You know, I have gotten reports that some people say, I tried to juice celery in the Nama and it clogged up and it jammed up and it didn't work. And I know a lot of you guys are on the medical medium celery juicing program. So I want to show you guys how it juices 5 heads of celery, whether you're juicing for a family of 6 or 7, or whether you want to make it in bulk and then store the juice for up to 7 days if you use my specific methods and techniques I share in the video. I will put in the link in the description below. Once again, make sure you use that coupon code Celery10 so that you guys can save 10% off on the NamaJ2. But more importantly, when you guys use that coupon code, Nama will share with me a small commission so that I can continue to make these educational videos for you guys and I can continue to buy produce and juice it in the Nama as well as other juicers and compare and contrast all the different juicers that I do. So hopefully my videos have helped you guys out a little bit, and you know, you'll use my coupon code, which will help me out and also at the same time save you guys some money as well. So I appreciate you guys who have used my coupon code or will use my coupon code in the future. Anyways, on with this video. As you guys know, celery is one of the most, as this thing breaks, amazing vegetables out there. You know, while some people may promote celery as the only juice you should drink in the morning, you know, I personally say that it's good to drink other vegetable juices, especially leafy green vegetable juices. Link down below my video. You know, I like to juice different kinds of greens, including celery, because I believe there's a greater benefit in juicing a diversity of greens because every different green has different kinds of nutrients, phytonutrients, vitamins, and minerals. As good as celery is, hey, romaine lettuce is great, kale is great, cucumbers are great, and, you know, arugula is great, and all different kinds of greens are great. So I want you guys to mix it on up, but I know some of you guys are going to stick to the program of drinking straight celery juice, and you guys want to see how it's going to work in the NamaJ2, and that's what I'm here to share with you guys today. So the first thing I will say is when selecting your celery, right, selecting your celery in the store, or maybe you're growing it yourself, could lead towards success or failure in any juicer because the quality of the celery matters, right? The juicer quality is always the same. They test each one at the factory and make sure it is up to factory specifications and do quality control checks before it leaves the factory so that you get a juicer that's working when you get it. The one issue is that if you don't assemble it correctly, it's not going to turn on. You're going to think you got a defective juicer, but in like 99% of cases where people say, John, the Nama doesn't work, they didn't assemble it correctly. I'm not going to show that in this video, so be sure to watch my other videos on that. But what I will say is that celery varies widely. Here's some secrets that many people don't know about celery. Number one, you guys know when you go to the store and you guys buy apples, you guys could buy Granny Smith apples, Fuji apples, and here's the thing, they have different cultivars or varieties of celery and they are always labeled celery. You know, I could tell that this is a different cultivar than this, not only because of the color, but just because, you know, these stalks are, you know, seem a little bit more fibrous than this one. This one's a little bit more light in color. That being said, you know, the variety matters, so maybe if you're in the UK, you'll get different celery than we get here in the United States, and depending if you're getting organic or conventional, or if your local farmer grew it, or if you're buying it at the store, or if you grew it yourself, your varieties could vary widely, and some varieties will juice better than others. I have not tested all the varieties of celery, but in general, the more mature the celery is, the more fibrous it is, and the more challenging it can be to juice it, number one, so you want to try to get more younger and tender celery. Number two, the older the celery is, the harder it is going to be to juice because, you know, once again, when they harvest celery, they remove it from the roots. As they're cut off the roots, the plant stops absorbing water and then the water that's in there starts to literally evaporate or come out of the celery. So now you have a more dense product with less water content, which then makes it even harder to juice. So if you guys are juicing celery, I encourage you guys to buy celery on a regular basis and juice it, and don't necessarily buy a case and then juice that over the next month. The celery, you know, will age and go bad, you know, and then also get older and more mature in your fridge. And when you go out and buy celery, make sure you try to get the freshest celery possible. Some tips are, like this celery, you can see it's like quite yellow, right? This is a piece of celery that's going bad. You wouldn't necessarily want to juice it. You can see the bottom totally is bad. It's starting to split and it gets really kind of hollow there. You want something nice, deep, and green. The other thing is, like, this celery is from Mexico. Not that I have anything against Mexico. I eat a lot of Mexican produce. But this one, like, it seems kind of rubbery. So when I bend it, it just seems kind of flexible and rubbery. And, you know, I prefer celery, like, grown in the U.S. that's, like, you know, more crisp. If you start to bend it, it'll, like, literally snap on you and break instead of being really pliable and flexible. So, you know, the other thing is try to get a deep green celery versus a lighter color. Generally, as celery gets older, it gets lighter in color, although some cultivars may be just lighter in the get-go, depending on how they're grown. So those are some tips. Buy celery fresh, and now I'm going to show you guys the juicing tips to juice it in the NamaJ2. I think I want to time how long it takes me to juice all 5 heads of celery, so before I turn the machine on, hopefully I'll remember to start my stopwatch there. But, you know, here's the thing, like, you could cut the celery like literally almost in half and then put the whole stalks in there to juice, and that'd be the minimal cutting required to juice the celery if you line this up like I did in the video down below, which you can do. That being said, for the best results, I want you guys to cut your celery smaller. If you live in the UK and your celery is always clogging and jamming, which I've really never happened to me, then you want to cut it smaller. You want to pay more attention when you're juicing. So, you know, we're going to move this apart and we're going to show you guys how I'm going to pre-cut this celery. I'm going to take off a couple bad stalks here. And literally you're just going to take a knife and you're going to cut it into like little 1-inch pieces. You know, if you cut it in 1-inch pieces all the way down of the celery, it's going to juice good for you. Plus, because you're cutting it into smaller pieces, you could load up this hopper more effectively, meaning you could fit more celery in there in one fall swoop. Alright, so as you guys can see, I chopped up all the celery. I mean, this is the best practice. I know a lot of you guys don't want to pre-cut things this much. And once again, if you guys cut things longer, then you have a higher probability of it not working as well. If you cut things this small or even smaller, then you have a higher probability of it working as well. So you guys could play your own odds, right? So what I want to do next, actually, we're just going to start to time this. And we're going to hit start. And we're just going to go ahead and drop all the celery that I pre-cut up into the NamaJ2 Juicer. I really like the nice wide opening in the lid that you could just drop big handfuls. And as you guys can see, one celery filled up basically 3/4 of this container. We could cut it up more and fill it up, but the amazing thing about the NamaJ2 is we're going to go ahead and turn it on and let the machine work while I then sit here and pre-cut the celery once again, you know. And this celery I may cut into larger pieces to see how it does, right? And once again, the smaller you cut it, the better it's going to work. The larger you cut it, the more problematic it can be. But, you know, sometimes I like to experiment to see. But if you guys are juicing a lot of celery at once, pre-cut it smaller. It will pay you dividends and, you know, work a lot better for you in the long run. All right, so in order to save you guys some time, I think we're going to go ahead and just speed this part of the video up for you guys. Let the juicer work and let me cut and load it up. And I'm going to get all this celery juice and we're going to find out how long it takes. So as you guys can see, the NamaJ2 is almost finished. And how do I know it's finished? Well, when the pulp stops moving out this side and it stops moving and the juice stops dripping, then you know the machine is finished. If you turn it off prematurely, there'll be a lot of excess waste still inside the juicer that did not get juiced. I think pretty much the pulp stopped moving off this side, so we're going to go ahead and turn it off. The other thing I always like to do is I like to tip this up a little bit because you're going to always get some extra juice out of the machine. We're going to go ahead and now hit the stop button, and look, 5 heads of celery turned into juice, and it took about 16 minutes and 39 seconds from start to end. You know, while the machine was juicing, I was able to pre-cut and load it up, and then at the end, when I got it all loaded up, I had time to do other things besides just, you know, sitting here and feeding produce into the juicer. That is literally the game-changing technology in the NamaJ2, is that it saves you time in the respect that not how long it takes to juice necessarily, but it frees up your time to do other things in your house. Whether you need to take care of a baby, you know, check your Instagram, whatever you guys need to do, you guys don't need to sit here and feed produce into the juicer like virtually every other juicer on the planet. You guys can check the link down below, the video I made. You know, this juicer will get you back juicing if you previously had another juicer and it was too hard or too difficult to use. You can see even my auto cleaning technique I use once again in that video down below, that the NamaJ2 will get you back into juicing. So as you guys can see, the 5 heads of celery were turned into 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 4 containers, and these are basically ball jars, 24 ounces. They're my favorite because they're a bit thicker than the 32 ounces. Plus they look really nice. So yeah, 24, 24, 24, plus another like 500 milliliters it looks like over on this side. That's how much juice we made in the NamaJ2, and as you guys can see, the pulp was flowing out the entire time. The pulp never clogged up, it never jammed, right? Now, if you just try to put the celery maybe cut in half and put it in there and let it run, right? It could give you some problems. I'm not gonna say it won't give you problems. I'm gonna tell you guys, if you guys cut the celery like I did, 1-inch pieces, load this up. Also, cutting it smaller allows you to load this more effectively, because if you cut big pieces, you can't fit as much in there due to the volume. It's gonna work perfectly, and this is what you will be left with after juicing 5 heads of celery. Now I'm gonna take this pulp out, and I'm gonna squeeze it in my hand in front of you guys. Look at that. You guys can see we're squeezing some juice out of there, right? This machine is not the most effective juicer for juicing celery. I could sell you a $2,500 juicer that'll make a higher yield juice, but then you gotta, you know, put the produce in there, grind it up, you gotta put a press cloth, you gotta then put it in the press, click the button up, let it press, and then let the juice squeeze out. It's gonna take you some more time. You know, so every juicer has its own pros and cons. The reason why I like the NamaJ2 is because it does make it so easy. You load it up, you pre-cut things a little bit properly, and it does the juicing for you. And if you're like me and are concerned about, like, John, there's, you know, more juice in the pulp I didn't get out, I want to show you guys my special tip so you guys could get a drier pulp in the NamaJ2. You can't do this in all the different juicers out there, but you can do it in the NamaJ2. That I'll be showing you guys in just a little bit, so stay tuned. But right now, I want to show you guys what you do when you make all this juice at once. If you're just a single guy like me, you guys could store your juice. So, you know, if you guys want to store the juice, link down below to the video, how to store your juice up to 7 days. Make sure you guys watch my video. There's like 10 tips I showed you guys. This video is only getting one of the tips, which is basically you want to use these special vacuum lids that work with the mason jars and a vacuum pump. You're just going to put the lid on there and you're going to pump it like, oh, look at that, cheap pump. Don't buy this pump. It's going to break. So we're just going to pull it up like this. Anyways, the goal is to basically you're going to pump out the excess oxygen out of the jar. Most people say, oh, fill the jar up to the brim and then put a cap on it. The problem with that is that there's still a little bit of oxygen space or head space that there's oxygen in. And the bigger problem that most people don't realize is that there's dissolved oxygen in the juice. As I pump this, if I pump it really hard, which aside from the handle, this pump's looking like it's a pretty good pump, you guys can see, you know, there are literally bubbles floating out of the juice collecting in the top that will basically pop and then turn back into juice later. So, you know, you want to pump out the extra oxygen out of the headspace as well as the juice. You can only do that with a strong, powerful pump. I'll put a link down below to the kit I recommend, which is actually not this kit because this is a new one I'm trying. And then it comes with a pump as well as the lids, and you guys will have to source your own mason jars, you know, at a local Target or Walmart, or I go to Winco Foods. So yeah. Oh, and then the other tip, another maybe very important tip, is store these cold. If your fridge is running at 40 degrees because you're trying to save energy, no. Set your fridge down to like 35 5 degrees, just above freezing, and set these in the very back of the fridge, right? In the front of the fridge, the temperature has more variance. In the back of the fridge, it's gonna be the coldest. So you want the oxygen removed and kept the coldest. Of course, if you're not doing straight celery, it'd also be really good to like juice some lemon in there, add some lemon juice in there too. That'll ensure your juice stays fresher longer. All right, so now that you guys learned how to keep your juice fresher longer, now I wanna show you guys how to get more juice out of the celery pulp we just created. And how we're gonna do that today is we will use this almighty vegetable. This is known as a jicama, and this is a root crop from Central America. If you guys can't find jicama near you, you could just use some carrots for this step as well. You know, basically I call this a sacrificial, vegetable, because we need to kind of add a vegetable to get the pulp to rejuice properly. If we just try to put the pulp in there, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if you put, some kind of root vegetable that kind of agitates the pulp up and allows it to drop in, then it will work. Carrots could be like, buying in a 25-pound bag, could be really inexpensive. I think around me it's like $8 for 25 pounds non-organic. If you want organic carrots, about 60 cents a pound at your local Sam's Club or Costco for organic carrots. This jicama I got actually 3 pounds for $1 at my local Mexican market. And so that was like 33 cents a pound. So to use the jicama, you're gonna have to first cut off all of the peel just like this. The next step is you will cube this up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cube it up really fast for you guys. All right, so as you guys can see, I got all the jicama literally cubed up into little cubes, and we got all our pulp. So now what we wanna do is we wanna layer the pulp and the jicama. The jicama will actually get agitated up in the top hopper without kind of like sticking to the walls like the pulp would if you didn't put the jicama in there, right? So we're just gonna go ahead and put a layer of pulp in there, and then we're gonna go ahead and take a nice large handful of the jicama and layer the jicama in there. Now, of course, when you turn it on, it's all just gonna go ahead and mix up anyways, and that's all right. But what we wanna do is we wanna try to evenly distribute the jicama with the pulp that we are rejuicing now, right? So rejuice your pulp in the NamaJ2, get a higher yield now. Yes, this is not gonna be straight celery juice any longer, but this is a great juice to maybe have in the evening, before bed if you're single, or maybe you got kids and they don't like straight celery juice. Hey, if you put enough jicama in there, right, it's gonna taste good. If you wanna put an extra apple in there or something for sweetness, you could surely do that as well. I like to just do the straight jicama. The jicama actually is rich in inulin, which is a good prebiotic fiber for your gut bacteria. So this stuff could improve your microbiome for sure. One of the reasons why I love the jicama. So as you guys can see, we're just layering it up. We put layers of the pulp and layers of the chopped jicama. And then we're just gonna go ahead and close this up, turn the machine on. We got a new pulp catch bin there, and we're gonna let the juicer go to town. What's happening now is that the processing blade on the top is spinning around. It's actually hitting the jicama and the celery pulp, and the jicama is allowing the celery pulp to kind of drop in the machine. And as you guys can see, we're getting some juice. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get up and just let the machine work on its own without me doing anything, and we're gonna come back at you in a little bit. All right, so as you guys can see, I made an extra quart of the celery jicama juice, and then even had some extra. So I want to show you guys some of the more tips when refeeding the produce. Number one is when you initially load, don't like pack it in there. I kind of packed it in there too much. You want to kind of have it light and fluffy, because then it'll agitate a little bit better. Also kind of pay attention, because sometimes it'll get stuck a little bit, so you might have to pop it up, rotate it around to get it stuck off the walls. If it is getting stuck on the walls, maybe next time use a bit more, chopped up jicama, so that the pulp is not get stuck on the walls. You have a lot more things agitating and moving around in there that end up getting juiced. Now the other thing is, when all the pulp, the celery pulp, and in this case the jicama, got rejuiced, it came out, and then once it was done, then I put in straight jicama at the end to kind of flesh out the juicer, because to me, the celery juice is like so much more nutritious than the jicama. The jicama, once again, is like a sacrificial vegetable just to get more celery juice out. So you guys can see, we got a nice big quart of celery juice with the jicama, and we're gonna go ahead and try a little bit of this for you guys. Man, the jicama juice, you guys gotta try this stuff. Jicama juice is amazing. It tastes kind of sweet, not necessarily because of the sugar in there, it's because of the inulin, which is, gonna feed your microbiome. So it's one amazing vegetable. It tastes good. And now I'm gonna show you guys this pulp. So look at the pulp this time, right? We're gonna kind of dig down to the bottom here. We're gonna grab some of this pulp that I rejuiced. Let's see if we can squeeze out juice, right? I can squeeze out even less this time than the last time. So now we've definitely increased the yield of the celery, and we use the jicama to make it happen, and we got more juice out of it. This is just one of the many ways you guys could be more efficient when juicing. You guys could save time when using the NamaJ2. You guys could get a drier pulp by rejuicing your pulp fully automatically if you follow my specific procedures. And as it was juicing, I actually just vacuum sealed all my jars. So I basically have nice 4 quarts here that I could put in my fridge and save for the next 4 days. So I hope in this episode you guys saw that easily the NamaJ2 could use 5 heads of celery, and I could have did 10 if I wanted to, but that's a lot of celery juice, right? Once again, the tips are pre-cut the celery, feed it in there, let the machine run at its own pace, and it's gonna do great for you. Then, if you want to save it under vacuum, link down below to the vacuum pump and lids that I recommend at this time. In addition, you guys saw how you can rejuice your celery pulp. Matter of fact, you can do this with most things you juice in the NamaJ2 and rejuice the pulp when using this jicama technique. If you don't got jicama, you could use something like, carrots you cut up into little pieces. You just need something in the hopper that's going to help agitate and get that wetter pulp that tends to stick to the sides down into the machine, right? I'm trying to share with you guys a lot of value of what I've learned using the NamaJ2 for over a year now. And once again, I've been juicing for 27 years now. And my goal is to show you guys how the juicers work so that you guys can get the best one for you. And at present time, the NamaJ2 is the best one for me because it allows me to save time at juices while I'm pre-cutting, doing other things, so that I could get more done in my day because I have plenty to do. Now, if you guys want to save money on the NamaJ2, make sure you use that coupon code CELERY10. I'll pop up right here at namawell.com to save 10% off your purchase. And I'll save you guys $55 off. And not only am I going to save you guys $55 off, Nama will also share a small commission with me so that I can continue to make these educational videos for you guys. So if I've helped you out in any way, please use my coupon code and scratch my back. That'll help me out too, so I can continue to make these videos for you guys. And I appreciate you guys who have used my coupon code so much. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, seeing how the NamaJ2 can juice 5 heads of celery, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. More importantly, please be sure to share this in medical medium juicer forums, on Facebook or other groups or Instagram or other social media, Facebook, so that this information can get out to more people so that they can see how easy of a time it is to juice in the NamaJ2, how you guys can save your juices for up to 7 days, and then also rejuice your pulp. The NamaJ2 is definitely one amazing machine. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on new and upcoming episodes. I'll be coming out about 5 to 7 days. You never know what new juicer I'll be testing, comparing, or demonstrating, or dropping my juicer knowledge bombs. And I don't want you guys to miss out on any single episode. So click that subscribe button and make sure you press the bell so you get notified as my new videos come out. And finally, be sure to check our past episodes. The past episodes are wealth of knowledge. Over 600 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to teach you guys all my secrets and comparing and contrasting all the different juicers on the market and other appliances that allow you to eat more fruits and vegetables, and some special links down below in the description to other videos I've made with the NamaJ2 in the past. It is simply the most amazing juicer out there in my book. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.